It's Thursday, November 28, 2024. Let's take a look at the headlines making way to the Nigerian dailies of today. Let's begin with the Punch. The border headline says Port Harcourt refinery. Marketers threaten boycott as NNPCL juggles petrol price. Can turn to page 2 of the paper to get the complete story. And beside the nameplate on page 20, tax panel to defend bill at Senate debate today. Above the nameplate on page 2, Tinubu to name new envoys after France and South Africa visit. And beside that, Oluyede says 30-year experience prepared me for COAS job. Can turn to page 29 of the paper to get the complete story. And beside that, on page 28, Finnish court sets mid-2025 date for a past trial. And below the picture, EFCC opposes Bello's bail application. Court remands ex-governor. Can turn to page 7 of the paper to get the complete story. And below that on page 23, reps to probe 8.4 trillion naira allegedly withheld by NNPCL. Beside that on page 4 and 5, tragedy averted as tanker spills diesel in Lagos. And on Osun Airport, APC project panel clash over relocation. Can turn to page 25 of the paper to get the complete story. Away from that, let's take a look at Daily Trust, where the border headline says tax bills, Senate brushes aside opposition amidst presidential committee. Can turn to page 4 of the paper to get the complete story. Below the nameplates on fraud, Yahaya Bello remanded for fresh arraignment today. And operations raise safety concerns over air traffic controllers shortage. TED Fund suspends foreign scholarship over cost and abscondment. Below the picture, Governor Mai Malaburni of Yobe State yesterday in Damaturu presented 2.9 billion naira support to victims of flood, vulnerable persons and small business owners. Let's take a look at The Guardian. The border headline says 555,000 shareholders forfeit 215 billion naira dividends over cost and inflation. Can turn to page 6 of the paper to get the complete story. Below the picture on page 3, power generation stagnates amid promises. Repair of 128 towers at 8.8 billion naira. And on page 4, transport-related accidents cause most children's death, Lagos declares. On page 29 of the paper, Abu decries 310 million naira per session electricity bill. And Senate braces for heated debates as tax reform bills set for passage today. Can turn to page 6 of the paper to get the complete story. Below that, on the business page 15, Nigeria has sufficient resources to build self-reliant economy, says Obasanjo. And court remands Bello, 2 others over alleged 110 billion naira fraud. Can turn to page 29 of the paper to get the complete story. Below that, on the panorama page 2, Dawn raises alarm as diabetes cause surge may rise to 783 million by 2045. And I created more states to douse fear of northern domination, says Gowon. Can turn to page 3 of the paper to get the complete story. Let's take a look at Vanguard. The border headline says tax reform bills. Nigerians earning below 1 million naira a year exempted from income tax. Can turn to page 5 of the Vanguard to get the complete story. And above the nameplate on LNG, Shell starts an arbitration hearing with Venture Global, says CEO. The full story is found on page 8 of the paper. Beside that, on page 7, federal government wants security agencies to stop torturing suspects. Gunmen kidnap 3 from innocent showroom in Anambra. Can turn to page 11 of the paper to get the complete story. And below that, on page 8, reps investigate discos over failure to replace obsolete meters. An expert calls for intervention in rising cases of diabetes. Can turn to page 8 of the paper to get the complete story. Beside that, on page 7, on alleged 110 billion naira fraud, ex-governor Bello docked, remanded in EFCC custody. On the sports page, I'll quit if Super Eagles qualify for 2026 World Cup, says Bruce. To wrap up is a Nigerian Tribune where the border headline says, row in Senate over tax reform bills. can turn to page 4 to get the complete story. And above the nameplate on page 6, Adeleke says, I have constructed over 120 kilometers of roads within 2 years. On LNG, Shell starts in arbitration hearings with Venture Global, says CEO. Can turn to page 13 of the Nigerian Tribune to get the complete story. And beside the picture, CBN fixes $100,000 minimum trade for banks on Forex platform. Can turn to page 12 of the paper for the complete story. And on page 5, on COAS, Senate screens Oluyede. Supreme Court bars Njoko from parading himself as APGA National Chairman, and FCTA's list of CFO defaulters on pages 18 to 178. Below the picture, court remands Yahya Bello in EFCC custody. The full story is found on page 3 of the paper. Still on page 3, Gowon says, I created more states to erase fear of northern domination. That's the headlines making waves in the Nigerian dailies of today. If any of these headlines caught your attention, do well to get a copy of the paper and read the full story, the identified pages.
Get credible and authentic housing news at your fingertips by downloading the Housing TV mobile app. You can also join the African International Housing Show live from across the globe through the Housing TV mobile app. The mobile app features live streaming and trending housing news. You can locate the AIHS venue via the app, network with AIHS seasoned speakers, and live chat with exhibitors. You can also order house or building materials at AIHS via this app. Download the Housing TV mobile app now from the App Store and Google Play Store. And don't forget to click on the notification button. Available for both iOS and Android users. Housing TV is also on Star Times, channel 149 decoder.